Hyperbitcoinization and the Lightning Network. Imagine a world where people have adopted Bitcoin as their primary form of money. What does a world like that look like? In what ways could that be a better or worse environment for humanity? How, when, and why would hyperbitcoinization happen? Gradually, Bitcoin is being adopted in many different ways all around the world. This exponentially growing process is happening voluntarily. People adopt Bitcoin because they want to. In the cases where people need to use Bitcoin because all alternatives bring them in some sort of danger, Bitcoin is simply out there ready to be used. So for now, let's focus on the voluntary side of the coin instead of the necessity side. There are a couple of very easy, logical, and verifiable arguments that will drive hyperbitcoinization. The Bitcoin network settles transactions on average in 10 minutes. That is the final settlement of an asset that can hold any amount of value from one side of the world to the other in on average 10 minutes. The final settlement means that the asset has been transferred from one wallet to another one. In the banking world, when talking about physical and digital cash, the final settlement between banks takes much longer. Although you may not experience the process of the final settlement between banks, it is still happening in the background. The following things happen when you send money to your friend. The bank looks at your balance, and if you have enough to send the amount you want to send, they will process the transaction. The amount that you want to send gets deducted from your balance so that you cannot spend it a second time. Your bank then calls up your friend's bank and says, is the information on this transaction correct? Yes? Awesome, because we have a customer here who wants to send money to your customer. Yes, we took out the money from his account already, so you can add it to your customer's balance. Thanks, we'll send the actual money later. This is of course done with computers nowadays, but the actual money, the actual final settlement between banks happens later. Since there are an absurd amount of transactions happening every second, it is not possible to settle transactions every hour, day, week, month, or even year. Clap. Instead of settling and transferring the physical and digital cash immediately, banks simply call each other, using special software, to constantly update each other's lists of who owns what. Therefore, as long as the list is correct, it doesn't matter when things get transferred and settled. Unless a bank gets wrecked. The key difference in this story is that when I send money to a friend using Bitcoin, the final settlement is the transaction itself. In the bank's example, your friend can spend the money before their bank has received the money. This is of course a benefit for the person wanting to spend the money, but it is a very costly accounting nightmare. It introduces all kinds of risks, and if there are risks there is friction, and with friction comes costs, and you are the one paying for it. The risks are very simple. Hopefully, by now you understand enough about money and Bitcoin to know that you shouldn't trust someone else with your money. Banks sure don't. Because banks simply don't trust each other, and they shouldn't. There are many checks to make sure no one is cheating. One of them is, don't give money to a different bank immediately, wait a little bit, and settle later when the likelihood of error is as low as possible. When handling money, this is a good thing, you'll want to be as secure as possible. But because there is a high security standard to be maintained, it drives up costs. Costs that everyone who deals with a bank in any way, shape, or form has to pay. Costs that only exist because of the risks involved. Risks because it is difficult to verify since no one can nor should trust each other. Bitcoin fixes this.